Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey Wolf and I'm here to introduce the importance of financial literacy being taught to high school students, especially in the state of California. As many of you know, California is an extremely expensive state to live in between the taxes and just pretty much overpriced everything. Between the cost of buying a car, a house, groceries, or maybe even potentially supporting other children or family members that you have in the household, expenses can tend to skyrocket. Many fall into a state of bankruptcy, mainly because good spending habits were never fully ingrained into their lifestyle at a young age. This leaves these poor individuals with no savings and barely enough money to get by. There needs to be a change in the spending habits of teenagers, as they will carry these habits into their early adulthood, into their late adulthood. These habits will ultimately change their lives as well as their families' lives in the future. As all of us are in college, we all know how hard it is to struggle financially. Bills tend to pile up, and sometimes it seems that all we can worry about is if we're going to make it into the next week with the amount of money that we have in our bank account. This stress is very common amongst teenagers and young adults, as we are finally being introduced to a newfound independence that we've never really had before, and all of these bills that are finally being put into our own name that we now have the responsibility of paying for. With proper money management being ingrained into an individual's spending habit at a young age, these habits will stick with us as we make our way into our adulthood. We as college students must make our way through the rest of our years of education, attending our jobs, and maybe the occasional social gathering. Between the fast pace that our lives already move at, as well as the pressure that is now being put on our shoulders, not having to worry about financial stability would be extremely relieving. According to Champlain College Center for Financial Literacy, as of 2017, California received a failing grade for being able to produce financial literate students or high school graduates. This means that California schools required less than 15 hours of financial literacy to be taught, if any financial literacy was being taught at all. Throughout this speech, I'm going to explain how making a financial literacy course in high school a requirement could be very beneficial, and how the lives of the next generations following us could be changed drastically. When teenagers finally get their first job, usually this is around the time when they're finally getting a newfound taste of independence. Many teenagers do not know how to do a lot on their own, let alone what to do with most of the paperwork that is being given to them as they get their first job. This can lead to plenty of confusion and stress. As it is a prime time for students to get jobs during high school, it would make sense to provide a financial literacy course to be provided to students as they are finally getting their new jobs and dealing with all of this money that is now being put into their own name. This can teach them how to responsibly save and spend all of their newfound money. One of the biggest things that a financial literacy course could teach students is what a savings account is and how it can prove itself to be extremely beneficial. Starting a savings account when one first gets their first source of income can be extremely important, and this can teach an individual how to make a savings account, what a savings account does, and learn how much to put aside into that savings account based on the amount of income that they're receiving. Savings accounts can prove themselves to be extremely beneficial, especially in times of emergency or when they're trying to save up for something big, such as a car. Although many are not sure how much money should be put aside into a savings account, or maybe even how to set one up. With the help of a financial literacy course, students can be taught how to set up the savings account, as well as how much money to put into the account. As well as a financial literacy course could teach students how to set up a savings account, it can also teach students how to file taxes, which will be very important as they continue to go into their adulthood. Many teachers and even many teenagers and even young adults are clueless when it comes to learning how to file taxes. I myself am 18 years old, and I am pretty much clueless when it comes to filing taxes. Thankfully, I have really nice parents who will help me file my taxes, although I wish I was independent enough or financially independent enough to learn how to file my taxes myself, although I was never really given the option to learn how to file them myself because I was never given a course or some way of learning of how to file them. me, amongst plenty of other teenagers, young adults, or just students all around the United States for that matter, struggle when it comes to things like this and a lack of knowledge in aspects like this. Although with a financial literacy course being provided, all of those people, students, teenagers, young adults, could finally learn how to file their own taxes and be able to fully become more independent as they reach into their adulthood. Not only could a financial literacy course teach students about taxes, it could also teach students about credit cards. Credit cards can either prove themselves to be a blessing or a curse, and it can be a slippery slope once applied for and used if there is not a proper understanding of how to use them wisely. They can become extremely dangerous and may haunt you for the rest of your life. Credit cards can be good for building up a credit score, which can allow an individual to take out loans for big items that are pretty much become necessities later on in life, such as houses, cars, or things like that. Although, if credit cards are not paid off wisely, they can result in large amounts of debt attached to your name, leaving you struggling to build up your finances again. A financial literacy course could teach students how to apply for credit cards, how to use them wisely, and how to avoid the dangers of using them wrongfully. Financial literacy is an extremely important subject to have knowledge in, as it is a key aspect of building an individual's ability to maintain financial stability. Financial literacy has the ability to teach students how to effectively change their spending habits, how to use a savings account, how to apply for credit cards, how to do taxes, and plenty more. With all this information, good financial habits will develop and which will be ingrained in one's lifestyle, following them for the rest of their life. Many of you have been told by a parent, guardian, or someone older than you that they'd wished they had learned how to save better when they were younger. You may have even thought this yourself, and as you notice the bad spending habits that you've developed over the years. We should no longer worry about our children's ability to become financially stable and follow in the footsteps of our mistakes. Instead, they must learn from them, and we must learn from them. And with the first step of doing so, it would be to provide a financial literacy course for our future generations to learn how to become financially stable within their lifetime. Thank you.